Back with another episode of Council Bluffs Today, presented by Waldstein Plumbing. I am Todd Studer, and in our studio today, we have Councilman Steve Gorman from the Council Bluffs City Council. Good to see you, sir.
Yes, good to see you.
Glad you could make it back over, and also very happy that you had agreed that, you know, every once in a while, we should probably sit down and talk a little bit.
Yes.
And just see what's going on outside the city.
I really think it's important that we have conversations in our community. Really look at the positive things. I think sometimes we get dragged down into the negatives, and although there is negatives we have to address, but we still have to celebrate our positives. And so those are some of the things
in that.
Yes,
that we need to make sure that we are seeing both sides.
Yes,
problems need fixed, but if we just ignore the positive that's happening in the community, then we start to think that there's nothing but negative. And that's not the truth.
absolutely not. We got so many positive things happening in our community. Number one, the people of Council Bluffs themselves are very generous, honest, hardworking people, and it's a welcoming town. And we don't promote ourselves enough as a community that is welcoming, and we let other people define us. And I think we need to really celebrate who we are, where we came from, why we're such a healthy, happy community that is welcoming. And that's because we are generous and we care about people.
There's a couple of things in there, Steve, that first off, about being welcoming, yes, I 100% agree with you. As long as someone wants to be here. And and I think that this community is really good at sensing that, because at times, if we have somebody come into the community with just the idea, hey, I'm going to get however much money that I can and then leave, they sniff that out pretty quick.
Yes. This community has been, from its start, a jump-off community. They land here and have stayed here for short periods of time and then moved on to the west. And so I think the people that originally stayed here became very astute at recognizing the people that want to invest and work in this community.
You know, I never thought of it that way, that actually goes back to the roots of this town.
Absolutely.
That's what this town was. And obviously there had to have been a population back in the 1850s and 1860s that stayed, because people had to service those that were just using it as a stop-off point before they continued on. So it just kind of became ingrained into the community.
Yes, and the people that I think originally put roots down here became skeptical of people just coming through. Not so much skeptical, but they didn't waste their time building relationships because they knew they were going to move on. They put their time into the relationships that were going to help them sustain a living in this community. My family settled here in the 1848, and they've been here for a very long, long time. And so those traditions kind of came through my family roots our family is very true to the bone. We handshake kind of people that do business on a handshake, and when we say we're going to do it, we do it. And that's the relationships I think that a lot of Council Bluffs people carry with them. They if you're true to your word, they're going to be true blue to the bone, and that's just the way that it developed throughout history in this community. And
well, I've been doing some history shows recently and learning more. I have to do research on this in order to be able to talk about it. So I think the first one I did was talking about how Carter Lake broke off from Council Bluffs and the whole story behind that, and talked about the Golden Spike and where that came from with Hollywood coming to town. And the most recent one I did was talking about the Black Angel and what the real story is behind that. And it's all history.
Oh, absolutely.
Very much our history.
And that's a statue that was made by a very famous artist. And so there's so much history that we don't celebrate in this community. I would like to see a Council Bluffs museum. Not a railroad museum, not a General Dodge, and the history behind all of General Dodge, but an actual Council Bluffs museum to celebrate. We have Billy Caldwell is buried in this town. He sold Chicago to the federal government, made that a treaty agreement, and brought the Potawatomi Indians into Council Bluffs, where we got our county name, Potawatomi. And we don't celebrate that. We had the furthest west structure in the United States at one time, right there on State and Pierce.
Yeah.
You know, that was an old fort that they put up. I think Leavenworth made of it, might have been who put that in, and they oversaw the raids that were coming down on the Potawatomi Indians. They were protecting those individuals, and so it was a lot of history there, and that became the first school of the West. You know, with DeSmit. He set up his church in there, and his work with the Indians and the natives to educate them. And so just a ton of history that we can really dive into so that we understand as a community. I think sometimes we don't reflect back and appreciate how much we put into the America West.
Yeah, there is a huge amount of history in this town. We've lost a lot of the history.
Yes.
As far as the physical structures, we've lost a lot of it. And I think that the drive to maintain some of those now, I think that's where a lot of that comes from, because when was it, the 60s, 70s, when the whole urban renewal thing was so
came
big,
in, and
we lost a lot of Council Bluffs. There's a lot of Omaha was lost.
Yes.
There was, and it was happening everywhere. Urban renewal was this buzzword that
buzz, and everybody, every town wanted a mall, and you know, that was the direction of the 70s, early 70s, mid 70s, and I remember as a kid going down to the old Council Bluffs business district. We had crazy days. We rode our bikes down, and I mean, and it was an idealistic town. It was really, truly an old market area that could have really sustained into the future if we would have appreciated that history that we had in our community.
I do know there's been some talk about trying to do something more with the downtown area, with like on Main Street and on Pearl Street. Is that something that the council is actively talking about right now?
Yes, we have our 20, and people should get involved with this. It's the 2050 comprehensive development plan that we're working on as a community. All of the people that live along this downtown corridor that surround it should get with our mayor and get with the council or council member and get involved with the 2050 comprehensive plan. That is the plan that we're going to have for development going forward to 2050. And we can, and that's a positive. That's one of the positives I'd like to really kind of talk about, because it gives an opportunity for the whole community, especially those that are tied right to this downtown loop down in here, to have say of what's going to happen and to develop and where we want to go as a community going forward for maybe the next 30, 40, 50 years. And that's such an important conversation and involvement. We need young families with kids in our community, number one. And number two, we need their input so we know how to meet their needs going forward. I don't want their kids to move away from our community. I'm a fourth generation. I'm from an old family that has been in this area for a long, long time. My kid moved away. I don't want that generation, this next generation that's made their roots here, to have their kids move away. I want them to move to go to college or go into the trades and then make their living in their life here with their family. I think that's what we really need to strive for, is to keep our community. We can be a partner with Omaha, but still have our community and our family. That's the biggest selling point I think Council Bluffs has, is we held on to our community. We still have our churches. We still have our good schools. There's problems, but yet we have our neighborhoods. I live in the Gibraltar Neighborhood Association up here, right surrounding the Dodge House area, 240 homes. We still meet on the porches. We still talk to one another. We have neighborhood parties. We have a dumpster day where we collect things that are hard to get rid of. We do it for our seniors. We say, hey, the dumpster is going to be here this weekend, and we go in with trucks and pick up what they need to have hauled to the and that's paid through our $25 neighborhood association fee at $25 a year, but it keeps our community tied together. And we do have a newsletter that goes out quarterly, and it started as just a one-page flyer, and now it's like 6 or 7 pages long, and it's just neighborhood news.
And that's important. That's very important, Steve. And again, I've talked about it with what I do and with how we have lost localism. And this is not just a Council Bluffs issue. This is across the entire country, that so many communities have lost what it was that kept them connected and the information that was shared. The fact that you're doing that newsletter, to me, is that's a very positive thing. Talking about the neighbors, when I was a kid, and I bet this happened with you too, that the local newspaper, and especially in the smaller towns, would talk about who's had somebody over for dinner.
Absolutely.
That happened all the time.
Yes.
And today's society would look at that, well, why would I want anybody knowing that?
That's not anybody's business.
Because we were a community.
Yes.
And we talked about that.
Yes.
And when I was 10 years old, I went on this 14-state trip with my grandparents, and the local reporter did a story on that, listed all the states I went to, talked about how I felt about being on this trip, and I was so proud.
Oh, absolutely.
Of that story being done about me. We don't have anything like that.
And you educated other kids that didn't have the opportunity to have that.
Yeah,
that is what we need.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the point to us sitting under lights with cameras pointed at us with microphones right now.
Absolutely.
Because I do believe that while we lost it, the need didn't go away and the desire didn't go away.
We're social human beings.
The product did, though, because we got bought up by corporations that are, the local press is owned by a company 1,000 miles away. I'm not saying anything bad about that company. I'm just saying, what do they know about living in Council?
They don't know the dog that we do a story on in our neighborhood, so everybody knows whose pet that is if it gets loose.
Right.
We know whose dog that is. We know whose cat that is. We interview the dogs. What do they like? I mean, those are some of the crazy things that ends up into our newsletter. Our neighborhood newspaper is what I call it anymore. Mm-hmm. And we do things like we talk about awareness. Smoke alarms. Hey, it's time to put your batteries in your smoke alarms. If you need help, let us know. We'll come and help you put them in. Mm-hmm. We just do that connection. I always say that the biggest downfall to our communities has been the attached garage and central air. We drive home, we hit the garage door opener, we drive into our home, we shut the door behind us, and we go in and we watch national TV. Mm-hmm. We don't talk to our neighbors. We don't go back outside because it's hot.
Right.
But in our neighborhood, we still have our grand old front porches, and when the evening's cool, mm-hmm. we meet on the porches. We have a walking wine party, I guess you would call it. They drink wine on the porches and visit, and we catch up with one another. We watch each other's homes. We have a neighborhood watch. We make sure that our seniors are comfortable and taken care of. If somebody has a surgery in the winter and they need scooped out, the neighbors know it, mm-hmm. and they get scooped out. And so this is how we take care of one another in the Gibraltar Neighborhood Association. And we meet in our old homes, and we know everybody in our neighborhood, and that's when we're safe.
That's true. Yeah, and everybody it's just kind of instinct.
Yes, and we know their kids. I know that there's kids down on the corner, and I know who they are. And when I see them walking alone, I watch them till they get home. My wife does the same thing, so does the other neighbors, so it becomes a safer place to live. That's the community that I grew up in, and that's the community that we strive for in Gibraltar. We're not there to tell somebody how to paint their home or how to live. We're there to support each other, to be safe, and happy and have a community and know one another. That's when we're really, truly a community. And we have had more people from Omaha move into our neighborhood when these homes open up and join our neighborhood association and have actually taken leadership roles and continue this newsletter out and continue to support what we're doing in Gibraltar. And it's been going for 15 years now. And so it is something very positive in our community. And it's right along the downtown area here. We have homeless come through our neighborhood. We had trouble with them going through our trash bins. So now we put out, hey, they're looking for pop cans. If you're throwing away pop cans, put them on top of your trash. We
Right.
put them in a bag. Haven't had trouble since. And, you know, it's just things that you see, things you address, the problems, like you were saying earlier. Well, life is a series of problems, and it's how we deal with them.
Yep.
And we could make a huge issue out of the individuals trying to scrap together a meal for the day, or we could just, instead of having our trash dumped over and we set them on top and they just come through and pick them up. That was a way to deal with the situation that was happening without involving the police, without involving, you know, a lot of lost sleep or anger. We just addressed it in a simple manner through communication and dealing with it differently. That improved our neighborhood. And it's like I say, just having a dumpster twice a year keeps our neighborhood clean.
Right.
It gives them an opportunity to you acquire things that just build up in your home that's hard to get rid of. We give them an opportunity to put that into a dumpster. And it doesn't matter if you belong to our association or not. If you're in our neighborhood, you can use it. And so it's very positive thing. And that's just a statement of what the people of Council Bluffs are about. They make it work. You know, the neighbors make it work.
When it's time for lunch, get away from the drive-thru and head to the Dock Bar and Grill in Council Bluffs. Whether you're hungry for a burger, sandwich, pizza, basket, salad, or just one of the daily specials, the Dock has plenty of choices and a comfortable place to enjoy a real meal. It's perfect for meeting friends, grabbing lunch with coworkers, or taking a well-earned break from the workday. Make the Dock your lunch destination. 401 Veterans Memorial Highway in Council Bluffs. If you have a leak, a clogged drain, or even if you're planning a big remodel, Waldstein Plumbing in Council Bluffs has you covered. With fast, reliable service and expert craftsmanship, handling everything from small repairs to major installations. They're locally owned and trusted and take pride in doing the job right the first time. Residential or commercial, big or small, when plumbing problems strike, they're the ones to call. Visit waldsteinplumbing.com.
Jumping back to which got us talking about the neighborhood that is so close to downtown, but jumping back into that, we have a lot of availability in spaces
Yes.
in the downtown area on Main Street and on Pearl Street and some of the side streets. There are storefronts
Yes.
that are open. Now, some of them need some work done.
Oh, absolutely.
There's some rehabilitation that needs to happen. Other places you can walk past and you can see that a lot of work has already been done.
Yes.
And it looks great. But this whole area is, to me, is just kind of this thing that's waiting
Yes.
to come alive.
This town, Council Bluffs as a whole, but especially our downtown, it has more potential than any other community in the whole state of Iowa. We sit next to 1 million people just across the river. And we're a minority city to a majority city. All of our other river communities are majority cities to minority cities.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes the potential of Council Bluffs very, very strong. Now, we have to present ourselves in a manner that doesn't allow Omaha to define us or another community to define us, our rural communities define us. We have to be a little bit more boisterous of what and who we are and what we're trying to do. And what we're trying to do is to make Council Bluffs a more welcoming place to come and live. We want families to move here. families in our community. We have an hourglass shape going in our community. We have a lot of seniors. We have some families down here, but this childbearing group, that middle-aged
Total population number is less.
Is less.
That's the least that we have.
And that's troublesome for a community. And so we need to do more quality of life things. We have to do several things all at once, and we can do this. You know, we're getting criticized on data centers and things, but you got to realize data and communication is not going to go away. Kind of like electricity in the 20s. People didn't want those electrical lines going through to the county. They didn't want those big dams that they put in during the ERA era. But yet we're still living with the electricity that they produce today, and we use it every single solitary day, and we don't even realize it. We really just kind of take it for granted that the electricity was there. It wasn't there. They built it. It impacted a lot of people on those rivers where they put those big dams. They lost property, but yet we still use it today. And I look at data centers, they're not going to go away. Now, we have to manage them. We have to do things that are going to be upfront with these big companies coming in here and looking at our community. We need community impact agreements with these individuals. If we don't have the water supply and we don't have the wastewater treatment plant that we need, then you're going to have to build them for us. I mean, that's an impact. If you're doing damage or taking to property owners along those things, then you need to make adjustments for that. That's an impact to our community. But we can have these agreements up front. And we can have these conversations as they come in. But we need to make it binding by having an community impact agreement. That we can't have, you're not going to impact our community in a negative way. And if you do, you're going to pay for it. Make it up front. If they don't like that, they can go to the next community. But I'm going to stand up for the people that are here. We can't just look at a new industry coming into our community and say, oh, don't do it here. We can chew gum and walk at the same time. We can do this and still have these individuals looking at our community. But we need to have this agreement done so that people that are impacted by it are compensated. If we don't have the wastewater sewer treatment plant, then these big companies need to help us build one. We can do this. But that has to be up front when we start those negotiations. And we're working on that as a council. It's been bumpy, but we'll get there. All of legislation, no matter where it is, if it's bumpy and rough and slow, then it's probably good. Sausage is made with a big old grinder. and people, I get criticized quite a bit. I've been kind of hit on Facebook quite a bit lately. Well, that means I'm doing something right, in my opinion. People that are happy won't say. People that aren't happy, they're loud. But yet, I know that I'm looking at things and studying things and not shutting out things just because there's fear there. And do these data centers bring a lot of jobs in? At first they do, but they're going to drop off. But the information that they bring is going to build into other industries. For instance, I know of big industries that are leaving other states. Now, we need to reach out to them because we have the technology and we have 1 million people sitting next door. We have a workforce. Now, we can bridge off of these data centers to much larger industries that bring a lot of jobs.
Looking for a place to relax, recharge, and take better care of yourself? Kinetics Massage and Bodywork has moved into the Omni Center in Council Bluffs. Owner and licensed massage therapist Tina Hebner offers customized massage and bodywork designed around what your body needs, from relaxation massage to focused therapeutic work. And with the move into the Omni Center, Tina is building towards something even bigger, a larger wellness space for the Council Bluffs community. Take time for yourself. Schedule with Kinetics Massage and Bodywork at kineticsbodywork.com. Council Bluffs Today brought to you by GLI Insurance Group. Summer in Southwest Iowa means road trips, backyard projects, storms, lake weekends, and a whole lot more time on the go. Before the season gets too busy, make sure your insurance is ready for it. GLI Insurance Group can help you review your home, auto, business, farm, and life insurance so you know what is covered before you need it. Local people, local service, and coverage built around your life. Contact GLI Insurance Group today and head into summer with a little more peace of mind.
Wanted to talk to you about the bumpiness that you had brought up. I know that this data center thing was one of those issues where the council unanimously disagreed with what the mayor wanted to have happen. So these are the types of things that need to be navigated.
Absolutely.
It doesn't need to be, okay, here's an impasse and it means the end of the world. It just means, all right, we need to find where our common lane is.
Exactly. And that kind of fell out into this last meeting. We had another directive that came up. Joe DeSalvo and Cole Button had worked on getting, towards this community impact development and research with community development, and so we got a directive now. We got a little bit better footing. We had another discussion during study session. And so hopefully now we're in a direction where we're going to get some things going and put the community at a little bit more rest of what, yes, we're going to be fine through this. And we will be. We have very intelligent, our staff is very good. Council Bluffs staff is very good. We have very good department heads. And we will manage this. It's just going to be a little bit bumpy. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of good information out there. Really pay attention of the long-term benefits that we're going to gain out of Council Bluffs. Some of these data centers coming in. We're not going to have a wash of data centers. We know that there's a limit that we can have, but it's how we get there. Who's the best one? Who's willing to invest into our community? These are the things we need to know as we go forward, and we'll get there. And like I say, it's just bumpy. Politics can be, there's sharp elbows and there's black eyes and there's tempers get, different directions and different opinions. But if we talk to one another and we do it in a manner that with respect, we're going to get to a point where everybody's going to benefit in the future from these things. And so, because they're not going away. They are not going to go away. Whether we do a year moratorium, a 2-year moratorium, they're going to be here beating on the door because we have things in this community, like I said before, that they want, which is plenty of water. We got land, and we got power. Those are the 3 things these companies really need. And so we need to say, what does Council Bluffs need? If you want in here, you need all of these things so badly, and you're beating down the door to get into Council Bluffs, what do we need, and how is that going to impact us? And so then we need to put our stuff forward, and that's where we're at right now. We're just hammering out this. How do we get to the point where we're going to benefit the most as a community off of these data centers that are not going to go away? The AI is not going away.
No, that's true. I've had this conversation in the voiceover industry, which I've done some work in, and there's a lot of what are called pay-to-play sites, which means that they are websites designed for voice artists to be able to go get work, but the money is always much, much less there than it is anyplace else. And I've heard people push back on it a lot of union members and SAG and things like that pushing back on it, saying that, they are killing the industry and we have to boycott them to make them go away. You're not going to make them go away.
No.
And they're here. It is already established. They're not going anywhere. You have to learn to work inside of it. Much like back in the 80s and 90s, I talked about this just recently on the show, Walmart going into any town over 5,000 people, and main streets were up in arms. How are we going to compete? And for a while, they couldn't.
Right.
We saw a huge exodus of small businesses that weren't able to compete and had to close that were on main streets. But now we're seeing them come back.
Yes.
We're seeing, because businesses figured out that Walmart is not everything. And we can provide a service that Walmart cannot.
Exactly.
And that was what brought that back around. So yeah, difficult conversations are important. The willingness to have them and the willingness to go through them, because we can, in society, we kind of get lost now. And I think I put it on social media quite a bit.
Oh, sure.
That we think because somebody says something, we have to disagree then with everything that they say.
Yes.
And I don't follow that philosophy.
I don't either. I'm pretty much about conversation, number one, civil conversation. Compromise is where it really truly where the best policies ever come from. We can start here and here, but if we hammer that back towards that middle or towards that compromise, then we're going to end up with a better piece of legislation or a better fit for our community, because I don't see everything and neither does the person over here. And I can say that about Roger Sandow and I. We're probably on the furthest ends of the political spectrum, but we have great respect for each other. And we have conversations, and sometimes they're heated and to the point, but yet we move and we compromise. And then and at the end of the day, we make our votes. And sometimes he'll go with us, sometimes I won't go with them. But then we go have a hamburger and we talk about, we respect each other at the end of the day and know why we couldn't support it. And that's okay. Roger and I and the rest of the council, we get along really pretty good. We have our disagreements and our different views, but that's why we have 5 council members that represents the whole community. Is because we come at it from different angles, and it ends up with a better product at the end of the day if we worked with one another to find that. And like I say, it's been a rough go lately. We're trying to find our footing, and I think my name gets put out there quite a bit on Facebook, but maybe it's because I notice it. But I think it's out there. It's brought up. But that's okay. That means I'm doing what I should be doing. I should be talking to people and making decisions that aren't popular at times. And that's okay. I can take the heat. So
a lot of the things that you're talking about here, Steve, whether it be downtown or whether it be the end result from new industry coming into town, you're talking about far enough down the line that chances are you won't be around to see the full results of it.
I'm never going to see the benefits of what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I made a living in this community, and this community was very good to me. I was a firefighter for 30 years, and I was an electrician, and I wired in this community. My wife taught school in this community. My kids grew up in this community, and I want to give back. I'm never going to see what I'm working for as a benefit personally. I look at things very long term as far as what we need as a community. We don't have enough population to support ourselves. I've talked about this with you before. We have to do more to make this place, Council Bluffs, the quality of life better. We're a very unhealthy county. We're probably like 96th or 97th out of 98 counties or 99 counties for health. So we have to do more to get our community happier, healthier, and involved. Those three things really, I think, are key to our next 50 years. When I was a kid, we all did the presidential fitness thing, and we wanted to.
I remember that.
Yes, and my wife loved it, and she still exercises to this day. But we played outside, we ran, we jumped. We had our physical education. Physical education has changed in the public schools. They have very little time for it. They've moved away from that importance, and kids need that. I think we need to get back to where we're doing more physically, and we're physically healthy so that we're mentally healthy. So that, if I didn't have PE when I was in school, I would have jumped out the window. No doubt about it. I was so ADHD that I would have been out the window, and I wouldn't have been able to do it. The sports kept me in school.
Yeah, I will agree with you there too, that kids are just not wired, for the most part, they're just not wired to sit still for 8 hours a day.
I couldn't do it.
That's not, and I think the majority of kids are like that. I'm trying to remember, I might have, several years ago, I was driving down 9th Avenue, and there's a park over there, and there was a bunch of boys over there playing a pickup game of football. And I thought, wow, I just like stepped back in time. And then the game stopped, and one of them went over and checked his phone. And I thought, nope, I'm right back to the present.
Right back to present, yes. We grew up without phones, and we grew up, I feel lucky that I grew up when I did. And I think every kid feels that way.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something that's uncommon or unique to myself. But for me, when I grew up fit, because we were free range kids, I came from a family of 8 kids, and my mom was like, get out the door in the morning and I'll see you at dark. Mm-hmm. That's the way she raised us. And people would call and complain about the Gorman boys, and she'd say, well, boys are boys. But we made decisions all day long, critical decisions. Dumb decisions that we had to live with.
Yeah.
Good decisions that were, hey, that was a good decision. But we were making those decisions on our own.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there was commercials on television back then that when I was a kid, that the commercial would come on and say, it's 9 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Yes.
The parents had to be reminded.
Yes.
Hey, make sure your kids came home.
Yes, we did. We did some things that were absolutely foolish.
Yeah.
But we paid those consequences, and we learned, And so I'm not saying we need to go back to those days, but I do think our kids need that ability to have that free thinking and that critical thinking and decision making that, is going to shape how they make decisions going forward. My brother and I, we got hit by 5 cars. We did. We did things like ride a wagon down Elm Street or Park Lane.
He's not encouraging.
No, I'm not encouraging that, because we did get hit by cars. And my older brother ended up taking the wheels off the front of the wagon because he almost hit us one day. I mean, we were like 4 and 5 years old.
Yeah.
We were Irish twins, and he put me in front, and he rode behind me, and we rode that wagon down all the hills, and it was crazy. But that's the critical thinking that we develop growing up doing absolutely insane things.
And you didn't need Isaac Newton teaching you about gravity, because you learned all of that on your own.
I think the fame to the Gorman kids is the cross bridge across the highway up by Pizza King.
Yeah. We
used to go to Hoover, and we'd run across. We played chicken with the highway. First one to leave the curb was the chicken with the car, and pretty soon there was a walk bridge over there because we got in trouble all the time. And so the very first thing I did, make this a funny story, but not really funny, it had a cyclone fence over the top so kids wouldn't climb off and fall. I walked over the top of the cyclone fence, very first thing. Principal sees me. So, long story short, he called my mom. My mom said, "Oh, boys will be boys." He didn't get the answer he wanted. He knew my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
He called her, and my grandmother then took me when I got home finally to the principal's home where he switched me.
Hold on. Yeah, it's a different time.
It's a different time.
That was a
But my grandmother stood there like this
different...
and then said, "You had that coming." You know, that's critical thinking. That is a consequence that I'll remember the rest of my life.
Mhm.
You know, it was dumb. It was wrong. And I don't encourage any kid to do this. But it was my grandmother was absolutely right in taking me back and facing those consequences. And it shaped me to the person that I am today.
Well, I always enjoy sitting down and talking to you, Steve, because I never know what direction the conversation
I
is
know
going to
it.
go. We just and people come in and they sit either in that chair or in one of the other studios here, and they say, "Okay, well, what are we going to talk about?" And I said, "Well, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% certain." I said, "If we've got something to talk about today, let's make sure that we do that." But I really don't know what direction the conversation is going to go.
I know.
I said, "Well, you and I are going to find this out together."
Yes, and I truly enjoy sitting down with you, and I want to congratulate you for also on your wedding.
Oh,
I saw that. And
thank you very much.
That I've been married 42 years. I married my high school sweetheart, and so I know how important marriage is, and how fulfilling it can be when you're with the right person. And so, congratulations on that. And I only wish you the very best because I've been lucky and very happy to be married to my best friend. So
Well,
I want to just make that a point that
I appreciate that.
it is very, very fulfilling when you get the right person.
Well, people have asked me because this is not a road I thought I would go down again. And and convinced of it. And as a matter of fact, when Diane and I first met on our first date, we both said it. That we weren't. This was not a destination that we were interested in finding. That wasn't the point. But why did I do it? Because when you meet someone like Diane, you marry her. That's what you do.
That's right.
and I knew it reasonably early. Now, we were 2 years in. Before
Sure.
we stood up there, but still, you just
Yes. There's a connection.
I can't fully explain all of it, but I don't think I need to.
No, you don't.
I just
But here's the thing. I knew I had the right person when my wife didn't really care about her wedding day.
yeah.
She was like, "Well, we have the rest of our life. That's just one day."
Mhm.
She said that to me before we got married.
Well, yeah.
And I thought, you know what? We'll make this work. We've had our bad days. Trust me. We raised a daughter with mental illness. We've had real tough days, but we work through them.
Right.
And like you said earlier, it's a series of problems, and it's how we address it. And I worry about myself and my side of the street, and I keep that clean. And what she does over there with her side of the street, I don't worry about it. And at the end of the day, we come together and we don't go to bed mad, and we talk to each other and we have conversations and we celebrate life and we celebrate the bad days,
Mhm.
because you don't know a good day if you don't have a bad day. And so, and pretty soon you're 42 years in.
Yeah.
And it's just a blessing to walk a life with a person.
Well, I'm grateful for the advice and for the encouragement. Thank you very much.
I think you're just a super guy, and I just want the best for you. And if I can give a little bit of myself to you to help you along the way, then I'm going to do it, because you got to give it away to keep it.
Well, I'll take it.
I appreciate that.
This is Steve Gorman, and he is a council member for the Council Bluffs City Council. We thank you very much for being here. Also, want to say thank you to our hometown sponsors. Therapy Place is one of them. Thank you very much for supporting local media and for everything that it is that we do. And listen to what Steve says. Get involved. and take advantage of the opportunity that you may have to have your views heard. I'm sure that you'd be willing to sit
Yes.
down with just about anybody.
I would, and get involved with that 2050 plan, because that's going to be the future, and it's going to be your kids' future, and that's who we're really building this community for, is the next 2 generations going forward. So
Well, thank you much, sir.
thank you.
Appreciate your time.
We'll get together again.
We'll do that, and thank you very much for watching. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you next time.